seconds out. Ayman Khan here with renowned trainer Robert Garcia. Robert, sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Pleasure to hear. Good to hear that you're doing good. You've got a big fight coming up here. Unified super flyweight titles are on the line on the 31st of December. Your charge, Joshua Franco, takes on Kazuto Ioka. Good fight this, Robert.
That is correct. We are working hard and ready to travel to Tokyo, Japan in the next couple of days. It is a very good fight, very even fight. I think on paper it looks very even and should be turn out to be a great fight.
Robert, what's the reason to maybe in some people's eyes go there a little bit later? Has there been any issues in getting into Tokyo at all? Or Japan, sorry.
There was a little bit of an issue, but it wasn't anything to do with the promotion. When we took the fight and obviously learned that we had to travel to Tokyo, we had no idea. We didn't know. Joshua Franco didn't remember that his passport had been expired, so we had to go through the process. So it took a few, about less than a week more than what we expected. So that's why our travel has been delayed. But it's only going to be like 3 or 4 day difference.
Now, Kazuto Ioka is very much a favorite with hardcore boxing audiences. What are the challenges you see from the tape you watch of Ioka that he'll bring to Franco on the night?
Well, I think it's a perfect fight, not only for Franco but also for Ioka. It's a very close fight. Both fight very similar. I think Ioka, he's not a boxer and he's not a runner, so it's going to be a fight where they both trade punches in the center of the ring. I think it makes a great fight, and it's a great fight for the fans for that division, especially how hot the division is. I think it's perfect for these two to unify, and hopefully the winner. We're hoping it's us. Then we go after the other titles. Gallo Estrada just became WBC champion, so that would be a great fight, and the winner would have 3 belts. Only one left, and that would be that Argentine kid that Chino Maidana promotes.
Joshua has had a lot of time out of the ring. Ring rust may or may not be a factor. Some fighters believe it, some fighters don't. What's your stance on that?
You know what? I think with Franco being off, for over a year, but always being in the gym, always sparring some of my top guys. I think that is not going to affect. We also made the decision to go straight into the Ioka fight because that's the type of fight that Franco needs, especially with his brother becoming the superstar that he became after the Cuadras fight and then the knockout he had against Rungvisai. I don't think it was going to be a good idea mentally, physically, and just emotionally for Franco to put him back in a stay busy fight, a tuna fight. I think we had to find something big, and we got this opportunity. This promoters from Japan reached out to me, and we were able to negotiate and work out the fight where everybody's happy, and the fight's just around the corner.
In terms of your game planning, then, do you take much from Ioka's 2018 defeat to Don Nietes, which he later avenged?
Well, we've seen those. We've seen that fight, and we've seen other fights, But inside the ring, at that moment, it's going to be Ioka and Franco. So we see things that we might not see the day of the fight because it's just a different fight, a different opponent that he's going to be in front of. So we just want to make sure that Franco had a great camp, great sparring partners, is in great shape, and that's the most important thing. We know Franco has the skills and the hunger to become great. He wants to be out there and be recognized as one of the top 115 pounders in the world.
Would it be Estrada next as the perfect plan if you get the victory? Estrada next for Franco?
Well, there definitely would be the fight that we would really go after. We have Franco is a free agent right now, so becoming a unified champion and coming back to the States as a unified champion with no promoter, I'm pretty sure Matchroom is definitely going to be very interested, especially now that they also promote his brother Jesse. So I think that's probably the fight that everybody would want to see. Plus, it'll just get closer to having an undisputed champion in that division. After that, the champion, the winner would have 3 belts, and there's only one left, and that, like I said, that's the kid from Argentina. So it would be. I think it's pretty easy to. I think next year we should have an undisputed champion at the 115 pounds division.
Robert, moving away from Joshua Franco's fight, Jose Ramirez versus Regis Prograis, it's not taking place now. Could you? There's been a statement put out, but from what your understanding of the situation is, what was the reason why Jose pulled out from that fight?
Well, you know what? Since Jose decided to take some time off because of his wedding, and Jose was supposed to fight Cepeda for the vacant title. It was already a mandatory, and because of the wedding got in the way, he decided to step aside. So Regis fights Cepeda for the vacant title, with the plan that Jose would be number one to fight the winner, and that's what we had planned out. Jose. That's the only thing Jose was thinking. That's the only fight that Jose wanted. But when when the negotiations came, with the purse bid and the WBC ordering, I don't know if it was 25.75 or 35.65, something like that. And that's just it's just a side that doesn't benefit Jose. Jose is a very, very talented, dedicated fighter, and has a great manager that fights for his fighters. So if the money doesn't make sense, then why go out there and fight for a lot less than what you've already been making in his in his previous fights? Jose could go out and fight somebody else for 2 or 3 times more the money than what he's supposed to get against Regis. So it just doesn't make sense. I I totally understand their position. I know it's a fight that people want to see, but people could say Jose doesn't want to fight Regis, and that's not the case. I know Jose. Jose really. I actually had a really good talk with Jose a few weeks ago, where I told him, there's other options, Jose. We could go the direction of WBO, maybe in the future a Teofimo Lopez fight. But he said, no, no, I'm fighting Regis because that's the fight that I want. I want to get that WBC title back. But now, the negotiations with the money and all that have obviously forced him to change his mind. There's he's not the only one that's done something like that. Just most recently, last September, we were scheduled to fight Joshua Franco with Gallo Estrada, and Gallo Estrada did the same thing. Obviously the money was not there for him, and he decided to step aside and just not fight Franco. Now he made the right choice. Now he's a WBC champion. Just had a great win against Chocolatito, so he's on top of the world. So it's just at that moment, when that happened, we could have said, "Oh, well, why don't you want to fight Franco? You're afraid of Franco." That's not the case. Fighters are not afraid. Jose is not afraid of Regis. It's just that if the money's not going to be there, he's going in there risking his his life, his health, and of course, then fighters need to get paid. So Regis could also say, you know what, I want the fight to happen. Forget what the WBC ordered. I'll agree to do 50-50. He hasn't said that either. He hasn't said it either. So we could also say, well, maybe he's the one that doesn't want to do the fight, because all he could say is, let's do the fight 50-50, and it's a done deal. But he won't. He's told us earlier today, because we had a call with him, and he said, it's a business, and my handlers they do all that. They handle that side. So he's also saying, hey, it's a business. So if the money's not right, I'm not gonna do it. He could easily say, let's do 50-50, and the fight's on, and Jose will fight him.
Robert, who then stands out as the most likely option for Jose Ramirez in his next fight then?
Well, a few weeks back, before the Regis fight and before the Regis Cepeda fight, we didn't know who was gonna win. Jose Cepeda already fought Jose, and Rick Morrigan manages both of them, so we had to talk about possible opponents. And Richard Commey was one of the names that we talked about, and they mentioned. I don't know if that's still going to be the same guy. for Jose's next fight, but more likely it will be. We did talk about it, and we said, yeah, if we're not able to finalize the WBC title fight, then yeah, somebody like Richard Commey is perfect. So that could be our next opponent. I'm not 100% sure, but it's possible.
Well, but moving on then to a fighter who may or maybe not be with you at the moment. He's currently with a number of other trainers picking their brains. That's been Anthony Joshua. I saw your interview with Ellie Sekbak. I just wanted to pick up on some of the things that were said in that interview. First of all, is it possible that you might continue on with AJ? Is that still a possibility, Robert?
You know what? I would love to, because you know what? When a fighter is jumping from one trainer to the other, from one fight to another, it's just not going to be good. It just, it takes a few months just to get used to the new trainer. And I think since last December, when I was already going there for a couple of weeks, and then again in March, and then 4 months of training camp together, I think it was enough to already get used to the trainer and myself, get used to the fighter and the rest of the team. But everybody thinks different. I think it's gonna be just starting all over again with a new trainer, and might make things difficult. But he actually called me and left me a message saying that he was gonna go come out to America to talk to different trainers, and then that was kind of him for letting me know. I think there's great trainers. Derek James is a great trainer. I think he'll be trainer of the year this year. So it's not like it's going to be a bad choice, but they are going to start off, from zero. So it might be a little bit difficult. Also, depending on the opponents. Also, if the opponents, if they're going to pick the right opponents, then it doesn't have to be myself or Derek James or Virgil Hunter. It could just be Angel Fernandez, and they'll do good. It all has to do with who the opponent is going to be. I came into training camp to get ready for a very, very difficult fight. Usyk is very difficult. Had already beat him. It was a rematch, so it wasn't easy for me either. It was tough. It was difficult. To prepare, to come up with a game plan. It wasn't easy. But myself and Angel Fernandez, I think we did a great job. I think he's, everybody that we talked to said that he still did better than the first fight. So that we were happy. Now, with whoever it is, if they pick the right opponents, well, he's gonna look good. Anthony's very talented. Anthony's very strong. He's an athlete that was born to be what he is. He never even had that many years in the amateurs, and still was able to get a gold medal. He came back to become a world champion without that much experience. So he already is a complete athlete and very talented. He's got great power. So those things will help him win the next few fights if they pick the right opponents.
Robert, you mentioned in the interview that AJ sometimes would say he didn't want to come in, or he didn't want to spar on certain days or do certain things. Were you surprised at those moments when you were in the training camp?
No, you know what? The thing is that I didn't say AJ did that. I was talking of I said fighters are not supposed to, they can't say I'm tired today. But I meant to every fighter in particular. It's just the way boxing is. We just seen the World Cup, and Messi being, becoming the champion in the World Cup. I'm pretty sure he sacrificed a lot. He sacrificed a lot of stuff, to be able to accomplish that. All these other great athletes, boxers, Mayweather, name all the greats. They sacrifice a lot. They have to sacrifice a lot, and sometimes they have to train even if they didn't sleep good. They have to get up and run even if they didn't have a good night's sleep. They might feel tired. They still have to go do your rounds in sparring. Yes, the trainer knows when to give the fighter a day off, but leave it up to the trainer. You got to do what the trainer does. That's what I meant. I wasn't saying Anthony has that problem. No, Anthony's an athlete. He trains. He loves to stay in shape. Even when he's not in training camp, he's always working out. He's always in the gym, doing workouts. So not it wasn't just meant to say that that was his problem. No, everybody has those days. Also, all my fighters have those days when they come to the gym and they're tired. Sometimes I could say, okay, take the day off, but other times we still have to work out. You could sleep after training. So that's what that's the way I try to say it. I know it was kind of read a little bit different, but no, Anthony's a great athlete. He's a great person too, and I was very very happy, that I was part of the team and did what we did, because going in there against Usyk is not easy, and we tried hard. Me and Angel Fernandez, we worked hard. We tried our best, and there was moments where we almost pulled it out. There was moments where we almost had it. So it's just the way boxing is.
Fair enough for clarifying those comments. Could you explain then, let us in on the time that you had with AJ? Because people say that mentality with AJ's biggest issue. They say that previous defeats have maybe put a dent in him mentally in his mind. Do you feel that was the biggest hurdle to overcome with him when you had that time with him?
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is that with fighters, Anthony had a full team behind him. Anthony had a full team. I wasn't the only one. He had a full team that everybody was doing their part. Everybody was doing their job. My job was in the gym. If it was the game plan, if it was correcting things, if it was adding things to his style, because I wasn't there to change his style. We were there to just make it better. And that, if there is a mental problem, that was the psychologist's job. That was his job. He had to correct him, to bring him into my gym to have a good workout. I'm not a psychologist. I can't go in there and I could try my best, but that's not my my job. So there's nothing I could do. Can I do it with some of my fighters that are in camp that I've had for 10 years since they were amateurs? Then it's a lot easier when you see a kid grow up and you know him personally for many years. You know how he feels, how he talks, how he acts. And then if you see something different, then yes, I could go and talk to him. But for me, it was more about doing the training, the boxing, the game plan, and the personal stuff. Like if there is mind problems, head problems, then that's not that's why there was other people involved to take care of that. I could have done my best, but if you don't know a fighter so well, like the other fighters that I've known for many many years, it's a big difference. It's a big difference, and it's going to be really hard.
People found his comments post fight to defeat to Usyk. When he took the mic, they found it quite interesting. They mentioned that he wasn't a 12-round fighter. Did you summarize the same thing, that he's maybe isn't a 12-round fighter as well in the time that you had with him?
You know what? I think what happened after the fight, it was just a breakdown of happens to a lot of fighters. We just seen it with Teofimo Lopez after the fight, questioning himself, asking some of his team members if he still has it. It's just something that happened. The way you react after the fight, knowing that you lost. Everybody hates to lose. Teofimo is a warrior. Anthony Joshua, is a great fighter. So after a loss, that losing hurts. So I think it was just the way they reacted after the fight. But Teofimo is going to come back strong. So is Anthony. He's going to come back strong, especially with Teofimo or Anthony. If they pick the right opponents, they pick the right matches for them, they'll come back to look, looking great and look sensational. And 2 or 3 fights later, they could be champions again.
Is there a trainer that you maybe think maybe you'd point Anthony towards the direction of, if it wasn't to be yourself next?
You know what? It's going to be hard for it. It could be, like I'm telling you, Derek James will be trainer of the year this year. But even him, it's not going to be easy, because he already has one of the Charlo brothers. He has Errol Spence, who I'm pretty sure will be fighting sometime, the first part of the year, because Errol Spence hasn't fought in a while. So if he, all 3 of his top fighters that he has have to decide to fight till the summer or after the summer for him to be able to travel to the UK and train Anthony for 3 or 4 months. If Anthony is going to fight sometime in March or April, then that would be the only way that Derrick James could do it. Travel to the UK to train him over there. If his fighters, all 3 top fighters that he has, decide that they won't fight until summer or after the summer, because if not, then it's not going to be easy unless Anthony decides to come to the United States to train and have camp with him. Then actually I would be happy for him, because that's one thing that I told him. That's what you need to do. You need to do camp in the United States, in the gym where they have other fighters, where there's going to be more motivation. They're going to be pushing you. They're going to be you're going to be seeing them. You're going to be learning from them, because I think most of his training camps have been by himself in his own training camp. So he needs to be pushed. He needs to be motivated. And Derrick James has some great fighters right now that could really help and motivate Anthony. But if that's not the case, then he doesn't need more than just Angel Fernandez. I think Angel Fernandez is great at what he does. Angel Fernandez works hard. I talk to him every day, and he's a trainer that is learning. He's got a great stable of fighters also. So I think those are even Angel Fernandez's fighters that he has in camp with them had a moment to talk to Anthony also, and there was an occasion where one of the fighters told him straight out how it was and what he needs. So see, that's what he needs, those motivations, those kind of challenges also. So here in America, my gym, or in Dallas, Texas with Derrick James, or in Oakland, California with Virgil Hunter, I think that's something that I would be happy to see him make a move like that, because I think that's what he needs.
Robert, was it particularly difficult for you because you've got, as we mentioned before, a stable of fighters who are all at the top level, for you to bring your camp, but you bring yourself over to the UK and train there? Was that difficult for you as well to split yourself essentially?
I was able to get away with it, because I was in camp. I was in training camp with Jesse Rodriguez for his Rungvisai fight, and then he was the only one fighting. Jose wasn't fighting. Jose hasn't fought since March, so I was able to do Jose's fight. And after that, there was no big fight. We had other fights, obviously, our young up and comers. There was a lot of fights that we had, but my son, my dad, and our assistants were able to take care of those. For Jesse's fight, I did tell everybody in the team, with Anthony, that for Jesse's fight, I had to travel to Texas for his fight, and they okayed it. They got my flight and everything, so they were able to give me permission to travel to Jesse's fight. So there was no problems. But I know that now with Jose Ramirez looking into fighting sometime in March, and Bam looks like it'll be March or April. Josh, if he wins, we're gonna try to go after the Gallo Estrada fight, and I'm pretty sure that'll be sometime in May or June maybe. So it'll be really pushing it for me. That's why I recommend it, and it looked like everybody in the team was okay with what I told them. I said he needs to go to camp to California. He needs to go to camp, come to Riverside with me, and everybody seemed like they were okay with it. They agreed that that's what he needed. Hopefully they decide. Like I said, even if it's not in Riverside, if it's in Dallas, Texas, or if it's in Oakland, California, I would be happy to see that Anthony made that decision.
Rob, final few questions from myself. Would you, from what you've seen in the time that you had with AJ, would you still back him to win a world title, beat Fury, beat Wilder if those fights come across?
What I told them, and they know, after the fight in the locker room, I told them to stay busy. Try to stay busy. There's, he's a huge name. They talked about maybe a potential fight here in Vegas. There's perfect opponents here in Southern California that could be there for him for big fights. They also talked about a fight maybe in China. Well, there's that big Chinese guy that they could fight over there, and there's always Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is huge in boxing right now. They would be happy to bring him back. I told them, 2 or 3 pick-em fights, and then go after a champion again. By then, you never know. Maybe if Fury and Usyk fight, maybe the winner decides to retire. That means there's going to be 4 vacant titles. That means there's going to be opportunities for 8 heavyweights to fight for the world title. You don't think Anthony will be one of them? 100%. Anthony would be one of them. So that's I personally think it was a great game plan. Get him 2 or 3 fights next year, pick home fights. By the end of the year, we'll know if Usyk and Fury fight. If they fight, that means there's an undisputed champion, and maybe the undisputed champion decides to retire. That means there's four titles vacant. Then any organization would love to have Anthony Joshua fight for their vacant title. So then that'll make him a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. That's just business wise. That would be the best move to do. But Anthony's also a fighter, and if there's challenges for him, if Fury's calling him out, he's gonna want to say yes, I'll fight you. If Deontay Wilder's calling him out, he's gonna respond saying yes, I'll fight you. And he's a fighter, so he'll do those fights because he's been challenged, and that's the way boxers are. But business wise, I would go the direction that I explained to everybody. I would go that direction, and if I got that opportunity, I could guarantee he becomes a 3 times champion of the world.
Speaking of Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, we're hopefully going to be getting that fight next year. Who do you favor for the undisputed championship? Who's your pick at the moment?
You know what? It's a hard pick because Usyk is very technical, very smart, but I would probably have to pick Fury because of just his size, his strength. He uses his strength, his body to frustrate, to tire out his opponents. I think, being that he's too big and Usyk is a lot smaller, coming from a smaller weight class, I think it would be very difficult for Usyk to hurt him, and Fury would just use his body, use his strength, a lot of tricks that he knows to pull off the win. So I pick Fury.
Is Usyk's skill set great enough to overcome those physical gaps between them at all, Robert?
Well, he was able to do, he was able to do it with Anthony, but it's just the different styles. Fury is just difficult, awkward. Could be sloppy at sometimes, could be dirty at times. You know what I mean? So that's just the smart way to do it. And it's very difficult for somebody much smaller to be able to overcome that. It's going to be very difficult. Can he do it? Of course. He's a tremendous fighter, and skills-wise, he's pound for pound one of the best in the world. So does he have the skills to be able to do it? 100%. But it will be very difficult because just Fury is just very, very, very difficult and very smart in the ring. He's a very smart man.
Final question. It's been a great pleasure to speak to you, Robert. Bam Rodriguez, a very strong contender for Fighter of the Year. Do you think he'll get it?
You know what? I myself, even though he's my fighter, I think Bivol is going to get it. Bivol beat pound for pound the best fighter in the world in Canelo, and then he goes and beats Zurdo Ramirez pretty convincingly. So I honestly, I do believe Bivol is the one that's going to get it. Does Bam deserve something like that too? Yes, he moved up 2 divisions. That's one thing that the Writers Association don't consider. They don't consider that a 108 pounder moved up 2 divisions to fight a solid, former champion at 115, and then goes in his first start defense to defend it against the guy that had knocked out Chocolatito cold and had beat some of the other top 115 pounders. And then he still manages to fight one more time. Those are things that they should consider. Do I think he deserves it? 100%. But I'm also very reasonable knowing that Bivol had the bigger fight, the bigger win against Canelo. And I have to be aware of that and be okay with it. I'm not gonna be mad because they choose Bivol. If it wasn't Bivol, there's nobody else that could say they did better than Bam. But that's just the way boxing is. You know, he's a smaller weight division. It's always going to be like that. They don't really put too much attention the way he became champion, moving up 2 divisions. They pick Bivol because, you know, a lot of people could say, well, you know, and Bivol is the fighter of the year, but he beat a smaller guy. He beat a small Canelo. You know, but Canelo was pound for pound the best fighter in the world. So he did beat him, and beat him convincingly. So he was the underdog. So he deserves that. I think he does deserve fighter of the year.
Robert, it's been a great pleasure speaking to you. Wishing you, Joshua Franco, all the best in your fight against Kazuto on the 31st of December. We'll hopefully catch up soon after that fight. But thank you so much for speaking to Seconds Out. It's been a great pleasure to speak to you again, sir.